Michael, do you know what's going to happen this year?
Yes, I do. I know exactly what's going to happen this year, and this is what we're going to be talking about today.
Welcome to our predictions episode for 2024. I'm Gemma.
I am Michael.
Don't know what day this is or whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Got rid of the...
We're January. We need no notes on the screen. We've got our own...
What week is this? What episode is this?
It's round about episode 600. We don't do episode numbers for our bonus podcast.
Bonus episode. What's going to happen? Chaos.
Chaos is going to happen on the street this year, and we're going to tell you all about it, so you can decide whether you want to watch or not, because this is definitely going to happen. And we're doing things a little bit differently this year. Usually, we've kind of been... I'm not going to say we've been slacking off over the years, but we used to do the Conversation Street Awards and the Review of the Year and the predictions for the next year all in one episode.
Hang on, you think that means we're slacking off? I think that means we're just expanding. Like I keep telling you. You think that the universe is just a space to which to expand to.
Yeah.
As though you have infinite amount of time, but you don't. So, no.
But we're still doing things a bit differently this year. What we usually do for our predictions, don't know whether you've noticed this, listeners, is we just start doing random stories that we kind of know aren't going to happen, but we just let our imaginations go crazy. And we did things... I wasn't as inspired this year to do that.
No, I feel like I've been beaten into submission.
Well, there's also so many pictures that we've already put out there, and very few of them have come true. So we've got a bit of a backlog of story ideas. So what we're going to do this year... We are doing our pitches, prayers, and predictions. 3 Ps tonight, Gemma.
No, aren't we doing prayers, predictions, and pictures?
I don't know, but I thought we were going to do it. Which one do you want to do? I
thought we were doing prayers. You told me prayers, predictions. I did it in this order.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We can do it in that order if you want. Basically... Our prayers are what we really, really want to happen in Coronation Street this year, and things like, we think it'd be quite good if this happened, or we got our fingers crossed for this. And they're not going to be like long-winded things, just a few little bullet points that we can discuss, and we'll come back in a year's time and see whether we're right with that. Then we've got our predictions, and rather than being big old long-winded things, we're at our pitches later. Again, our predictions are just going to be little...
Educated guesses based on what is going on at the moment. Mm-hmm. Where do you think the story is going to go?
Yeah, because then we're more likely to be right because they're just little, they're short.
And we can score some goals.
Yeah, and we'll do our pictures at the end. We just got a couple this year, and then we'll come back and find out just how right we were with our predictions for 2023. I'm going to give you a clue, ever so slightly.
Great.
Maybe not our rightest of years, but this year I got a feeling in my bones that all of our predictions here are definitely going to happen.
Predictions or prayers?
Well, I don't know. I hope that our prayers are going to happen. We'll have to see. So you want to do the prayers first?
Yeah.
I'll let you go first then, as you're deciding the running of this. Give me some prayers for 2023 and Corrie. What do you want to see?
A lot of people, not including me.
Yes.
Well, including me, but not just including me.
Yes.
The prayer is that we get a new producer. Because Iain Macleod is now the executive producer, so we can all lay off ragging on him the whole time. Because, really, we should get a new producer. Who will it be? Do not know. Haven't advertised for it. Hopefully, it is a new person that we do not know, or somebody being promoted from inside Corrie who's got some fresh ideas for a new direction to maybe take the show into the future.
I really, really hope it doesn't feel like Iain Macleod. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's a magician or some sort. But I wouldn't say he's got the capacity to do the same job in Coronation Street and Emmerdale without somebody else coming on board and giving a bit of a helping hand.
I think that would be ridiculous, honestly, if they don't replace the producer, because traditionally Coronation Street had an executive producer and a producer, and now Iain Macleod has had to do both.
Yeah.
So, fair play to him. He's done a good job of covering both bases, but maybe being executive producer lifts him away from the nitty gritty, and maybe somebody else could come in and say, hey, why don't we try doing this or that?
Well, I'm going to say that my prayer is that whoever comes in as producer is somebody that's got some fresh new ideas, isn't just, well, of course it's going to be this person that goes there. I'd like there to be a bit of a battle, a bit of a, who's got the best ideas, you get the job, rather than just...
Yeah, we wrote this job
anyone want to do this one? Yeah. So
unless it's me.
I think that's a fair prayer.
I will take 100 grand plus for that job.
Next.
101 is fine.
Well, we'll wait until we get to your pictures, and that's going to be a job interview, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's
Right.
next? What else do you want to happen?
Am I doing this all?
Yeah, I thought you said you wanted to do them all.
Okay,
all your
right.
prayers.
Okay, I would like, and this, I wrote this before, I wrote this quite a long time ago, actually, because I've been thinking of this for a while, because I knew we'd have to do this. Now I may be regretting it. But
okay.
I would like a special guest actor star who maybe isn't somebody that was on Britain's Got Talent before.
Yes. So we want somebody to be in the cast who is known.
Yeah, like, I like it when somebody who is a famous actor comes along and says, hey, yeah, I know I'm more famous for X, Y, and Z, but I'm going to lend my talents to Coronation Street.
Give it a bit of a boost.
Because I quite, we didn't watch Benidorm, but when Iain Macleod came, I think he's done a really... Tony Maudsley came, he's done a really good job.
Yeah.
I think that...
Maureen Lipman,
I think, bit of a risk, but hey, we'll go there with
Oh my
God. We've got Bobby, who's
jury's still out.
not gone down incredibly well, but I'm rooting for him, I really am. And
One of my prayers is that, and we've said this before,
Judi Dench.
that he's good. My
Yeah,
prayer is that we
I've
actually
written-
genuinely like Bobby.
calm Bobby down is what
want
I've
to.
written. For
I hope
my
he's
prayers.
calmed down, and I hope we like him, because it's going to be very difficult if he's, because I think he's been brought in
He's
to
going
do
to be a
lots
major
of stuff,
feature of this year.
and it's the year's
It
not
needs to-
going to go down well with us if there's a character that we find quite irritating, stealing the limelight all the time.
A new idea?
No, have you got anybody?
No.
With your celebrity casting, are you thinking of like a one-off, a Peter Kay, or have we got somebody
Like
who's
a Iain Macleod kind of like limited story idea, maybe a month.
Okay.
Month worth of episodes where they come in and lend their...
Yeah, so get Judy on there. Judi Dench,
Judi
like
Dench
you
should
said.
be fine. Craig,
She'd do, wouldn't she?
David, Daniels, any Craig will do. I don't really mind.
Don't know whether I fancy Craig David coming on.
Who else? What about maybe Kylie Minogue? She's been in States before.
True. I don't know enough.
I mean, we've had King Charles before. Why not Prince William? Maybe Kate. Royal doesn't necessarily have to be a royal. Maybe
It would be if you were in charge.
maybe we could get Tom Cruise really likes British things. I think he's more of a BBC kind of a guy, but we could,
Okay,
he's got more money.
I think your prayers are getting away with themselves
Okay,
at
right.
the moment. I think they're
Next.
wafting off into the ether.
Mystery story. I want a mystery. I want something to go, oh, what will happen there? Oh, here's a plot, and what will be the end result?
I like that. I like. We like a good mystery, and there's such a dangerous one, isn't it? Because if people guess too soon,
Yeah.
what the outcome is, then you got however long left to say, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
like Lauren, for example, what's the mystery? Is she a sex worker or not? I mean, yes or no? It's not really a mystery, is it? It's one or the other. It's a bit binary. For
Well,
example, who pushed Cameron down the stairs? That could have been anybody.
That was a good mystery.
That was great, and it didn't
it-
involve a murder.
It wasn't a murder, even though we did call it Who Killed Ken.
Yeah, we did.
Because we kept forgetting that he was still alive.
And so did he.
A who done it is a nice idea.
Who done it
But
without necessarily it being a murder? And
there needs a fresh idea.
because we've already just had a serial killer, so I think Corrie is put itself into a box with, how long do we have to wait now before we can have another murderer or killer on the street? I like mystery. I like hype. I like, who's
It just needs to be something that gets us talking and speculating, or not just us, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know how long we were going to get into this podcast without mentioning EastEnders and the Six, but that was a who's gonna do it, wasn't it, rather than a who's done it, and that was a really clever take on the usual murder mystery.
Whodunit, yeah.
So, and I think I guess one of my prayers is that Coronation Street has taken note of what has worked really well for EastEnders in the past year, tries to replicate it in some way, but without just being copycat. I want a fresh take.
I don't watch EastEnders. We watched a couple of episodes at Christmas because of all the hype. But I'm getting the impression that perhaps the wheels have come off the Six somewhat. And that
since Christmas?
people aren't enjoying where the story's going, and they're getting a bit frustrated and they find it a bit silly.
That's a shame.
Which is, well, am I wrong?
EastEnders.
If you're an EastEnders fan, let me know. I mean, it's easy to pick up on negative feedback on social media and get an impression of something that might not be correct. So if you're EastEnders watcher, let me know how do you think the aftermath is going? Because the thing about this storyline was that it really felt like it was leading, like the whole year leading up to Christmas was a massive hype, and where are all these stories going with these women and what they're going to do and who are they going to kill? And then it got to Christmas, and then there's another whole year perhaps of story for the aftermath, and I don't know if everyone was prepared for that, and I don't know if people are liking where they're going with it, but
there's no denying that the hype got people talking.
I mean, it got good ratings, so let me know, what do you think? Where's it going? Is it good? So that's another thing I want.
I want it. I'd like it to just feel fresh in general, really. Not feel like, oh, I can see what's coming. Oh, here comes another blank. Here comes another affair. Here comes another illness. Here comes another.
It's hard to get out of a rut of
factory disaster.
Unless they introduce aliens, which is not a prayer but maybe a pitch. I don't know how they can really get out of that rut. New idea. Okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Cast Cull in a stunt. I want them to get rid of about, I'm going to say conservatively 20%.
Wow.
But if you can do 33%, go for it, I'm going to say.
Any particular names you'd like to put out there into your
would
prayers?
Not be happy to tell you my specific.
Oh, boo.
But I do certainly have maybe...
You just don't want to say it because then it won't come true.
No, I don't. Yeah, I am quite superstitious about wishes. I think you shouldn't tell people what you wish for when you blow your birthday candles out.
Wouldn't wish redundancy on any of Corrie's fine actors.
I've got some favourites. I've got some people I'm not too keen on. Even the ones I'm not keen on, and I want to stress this very clearly. I think almost every person on Corrie, all the characters and actors, I think there's a place for them, but not together. I think there are too many people on the cast. I think you could almost, I know people won't agree with this, but you could almost take any selection and get rid of them and focus on the leftovers and they'd be great. Honestly, I really do believe that. Yeah. I think that there are, even the characters people don't like,
if we got to know them more.
Like, for example, Paul and Ryan, beginning of last year, who cared about them?
I'm going to say some people definitely did.
I know, but it wasn't. I didn't feel like I was a bad person or like ignoring their talents. I thought that Coronation Street was, but the focus that's been directed on them has proven their worth. And most of the characters on the show, I think there have been a few high profile recent additions, but most of them have been around at least 5 years. Mm. A lot of the turnover is new characters coming in and going back out again. So, yeah, I genuinely do think that I don't really care who you get rid of. I mean, I've got my ideas. I'm sure you've got your ideas. But we cannot have this many characters and do all of them justice. So I want justice for the cast, and I want maybe to kill off a bunch of them all.
I think, unfortunately, though, that prayer, as much as so many people I think would agree with it, I think we would also agree that it's a very unlikely prayer to happen,
far-fetched.
Even if you wish with a shut your eyes tight and cherry on top kind of prayer.
My idea of what a prayer is I genuinely think this needs to happen. My predictions are things which probably will happen, which I don't necessarily want to happen, and my pitches are like, okay, I would love to win the lottery, and I'd also like,
for the prayers, I just think that one,
I'm trying to be realistic, and I do think you could get rid of a bunch of characters in a cull. I don't think that's far-fetched. I think that would,
or maybe that ties in with the prayer of new producer then.
Okay,
all right, what next?
Focus on core characters, which goes in with that one.
Core characters. So who are we talking about here? Long timers.
Who do you think is a core character? It's nebulous. Well, get some core characters. I want you to sit down. If you're my Corrie producer, if you're my new person, and I'm interviewing you, do you want to get this job? Who's your core characters? You tell me. You convince me. Who's your like, I don't know, 30? Who's your 30? Who's your main people? Who do you care about? Who do you want me to care about? Who's going to be driving the story? Those are going to be your core characters, and there's going to be another 30 maybe additional characters supporting them, and then the rest of them are dead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they often do have a group of core characters that changes each year. The problem with having core characters, though, is that you then end up in a situation where where there is lots that we don't get to hear from. So I suppose for that to happen, we do need to have a A cast reduction.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So more community and more crossover stories and more. I want them to focus on some. I want them to focus on populating the show. So your main 30, yeah, but you've got your extra background people. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
With the making
like that.
No, with the community. I was thinking that kind of ties into one of my prayers, in that people. We have more examples of characters interacting with people who they wouldn't normally.
Yeah, why isn't Toya having a breakfast in the cafe? Why
with everybody else?
Why isn't Leanne? Why have we never seen Leanne and Nick in
the Rovers?
In the Rovers, or when was the last time you saw them in the Rovers? When was the last time you saw them in Speed Dial?
Well, they're very busy with their late licensing, you know.
Have the actors been murdered and their ghosts can only haunt one set, and that's why we're capturing them on videotape, and it's going to turn out to be like a massive scandal when it turns out there is actually life after death, but only if your contract's been renewed.
It really does feel like lots of characters stay in the same 2 or 3 sets.
It is literally like they're haunting the set that they are stuck in. Roy, he's haunting the cafe. Jenny and Daisy are haunting the Rovers,
and you can tell that's true because when they have things like when they have things like Kevin and Abby going up to Billy and Paul's flat last week, it's like, is this the first time you've ever been in here?
Yeah,
I'd love that to be a little bit more of a regular occurrence. But if they can't do that with all the other sets, then I'm going to say get people in the Rovers more. Still, I mean, that's got to be a prayer for everyone, hasn't it? The Rovers is open. Let's see them prove why it was worth having the whole hullabaloo with them closing it after in the end. If Jenny and Daisy are going to come up with these ideas, I really, really hope that we're going to see an increase in people in there. They have their stories during the main bit of the episode, and then towards the end of the episode when it's night time, all go into the Rovers and cross over. I know that that's not really what pubs are like these days, and I don't go into pubs ever, but I've heard that that's not what happens. But it doesn't matter. I get everybody in there, get them crossing over a little bit more somehow. I don't know enough about how many episodes people are contracted to do, and can you get here? Can you get everyone together? But it must be possible to do it more than it has been. Okay, I'm going to just
say, Shona, 2022 Shona was the highest ranked character for appearances. What was her story? Don't know. That proves to me that you can be in every episode and not have a story.
Yeah.
And, I mean, these are prayers. These aren't me practically writing down what exactly I'm going to do as producer, because nobody's hired me and told you.
Have you got any prayers like a link to specific story? Like, I hope that this story turns out in this. Oh, I've got a few like that.
Well, let me tell you one of my penultimate ones.
Okay.
My penultimate one. Show, don't tell.
Right.
Don't tell me Steve and Tracy's marriage is on the rocks in 2 scenes. Show me over the course of however many months you've decided that's going to be a story. We had a throwaway line from Steve
on the fishing trip
saying something about I'm not doing too well with Tracy. Then we had a blow up at Christmas where they told each other they weren't happy with each other.
And even since then, and that was what, 3 weeks ago now, there's been nothing.
Yep. Another example, perhaps recently, a very good example was Gav, Lauren, Max, and
Sabrina.
Yeah. And then Lauren goes, and everyone's like, "Oh, Gav, you fancy Lauren? Oh, you fancy Lauren? Did he?
Yeah.
I see what
you mean. Yeah,
he did. Because I mean, okay, but show me. Show me in another episode that's true. Like Nina and Asher, I mean, we've had loads of them telling us that they're not getting on with each other, but did we see Nina with her friends? No, I guess she was lying. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of telling us and not showing us. When we've got 3 hours a week, there is a lot of opportunity for us to have seen these things happen without being just... Yeah. And honestly, the Tracy and Steve is the most awful example of that, because these are 2 major characters. They've been in the show for decades, both of them. They're legacy characters. I mean, Tracy is the daughter of Ken and Deirdre. I know she's not related to Ken, but, she's been in the show since she was born. I don't want a story where her marriage is on the rocks because we found out in a scene where somebody said, I'm not getting on with Tracy anymore.
Well, I mean, it feels like what with that Tommy Orpington return on Christmas Day, which has been, everything's been very quiet about that since then. That they're going down the route for there's a Tracy story. We're going to see the outcome of the of her falling out with Steve. There's going to be some kind of meeting of minds or other body parts with Tracy and Tommy. But yeah, you're right. Just the fact that it was teased. I guess they're kind of doing it to say, "Oh, what's going on here? Find out more next year." But
it's like they're acknowledging that they don't have time to show you everybody's story. But that to me is not good enough because I don't need arsing about with silliness. Like, do we really need 2 scenes of Maureen Lipman telling us she's Puppy Woman when we could have had Tracy and Steve bickering? Right, my final one is more Toya. And no more explanation.
I thought you'd have something like that in there.
No more need be said.
I hope so. It has been a very, very quiet year in this. She's just wasted in the bistro, isn't she?
Well, she's not wasted anywhere because I love her so much, but...
I've got some other characters that I'd like to see more. I've obviously got Toya on my list as well. I really think that 2023 needs to be the year... 2024, sorry, needs to be the year that we see more of Abby because she is, Sally Carman, easily one of the best actresses on the show. The character is fantastic for me. She seems to work with everybody. I've said numerous times before that put Abby in a scene with pretty much anybody and that will raise the scene higher than it would have been without. So I hope to see a bit more of her. And Shona as well. I feel that Julia Goulding, I know that she was the highest, the character with the most number of appearances in 2022, but last year and that year, it just feels like all she's there for is to butter her rolls in the cafe and then make a few funny jokes with David about Max, which I love. I love that kind of. But why doesn't somebody with the caliber, the acting chops of Julia Goulding get the big story? I really hope that this year could be it.
I know that she's got a young baby, so maybe that's a consideration. But she's young, she's beautiful, she's funny, she's talented, she's vivacious. We've seen her acting in real life. We've seen how well she can take the script, and she can also improvise. She's great with her funny little looks and her glances and the things that she adds to the script that aren't necessarily written down. Same as Maureen Lipman, honestly. And I don't think that's a too big of a compliment to give her because I genuinely do think that she's got that, that spark.
Yeah, she really has.
More.
Okay, I'd also on the subject of who I'd like to see more of. I'm going to just say family wise, Platts. Come on. What's going on with the Platts? They're not the main linchpin of the show that they're used to, and there's so many great characters there. I mean, it feels like we're coming into a new little Sarah era, but David has still been so underused, and I think that family is the best on the street. I want to see a big proper Platt story.
And I don't like saying this, but honestly, if you're going to say Platt story, I don't need it to be Sarah because there are so many other Platts that are. Just as interesting.
Yeah.
And Sarah's had Sarah's had quite a big focus.
She has. She's been at a fair bit. She's had, she had this year. She had the Damon affair last year as well. Before that, there was the stuff with Adam Hurt and Lydia.
She's had her chance.
But the Platts as a family unit, we've just had a few weeks of, oh no, Audrey's going a bit funny or stealing Stephen's money, but it doesn't feel like they're together as much. I want to see more Metcalfs as well. I think that the Sally and Tim relationship is so everybody loves those two as a couple. I'm going
to say no from me.
What?
No, I don't care. I'm quite glad that
they're some of the best for just general normal family scenes, just eating dinner and having funny conversations together. No. We don't have to worry about Faye walking in now or Elaine. Touch wood. Sally and Tim, I think I'd really, really love to see more of them this year. Sally Dinover is what legacy character, and it feels like she's just gone to the wayside this past year. So let's have more of her. Bit more Sam and Hope as well. I know there's only so much that we can do with them, what with him being in school, Jude and Bella. But I've loved everything that we've seen about those two as a couple in the past 12 months. And I hope that we can see a bit more. I'm going to say I'd like to see, and I haven't got any kind of pictures or anything for this yet, I want there to be a happy death for Paul, if there can be such a thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want him to... I don't want it to be and everyone's really sad and crying and it's just kind of miserable and bleak, because that doesn't tie in with what the story's been so far.
Yeah,
so whether it's him
true.
being very heroic and, you know, dying, saving someone's life, like we've talked about before, or whether he's just, you know, at peace and everybody is around his bed and he's like, here I go, or something, you know, spiritual. I don't know. I hope that they don't stumble at the end. If they go down the assisted dying route, especially if it's Hayley, like Hayley didn't have a happy death, did she? It was very it was very harrowing and like, I feel kind of squirmy watching this. But I'd like it to be a bit more peaceful and as much as you can joyous when Paul finally has to say goodbye. I really hope that Cassie stays this year. I don't know whether she will. Claire Sweeney getting her. I mean, there's a celebrity casting for you. She was well known before this. Yeah. I've got no idea whether she's, you know, in it for the long term or whether it was literally supposed to be, you know, a 12-month gig. But I hope that she stays. I hope that she's nice. I'd like her to, if anyone, I don't care about Lauren, but us having to forgive her and realise what a lovely sort she is all along. I got Cassie for that, and I think that the Dobbs family unit, I suppose, in many years the Dobbs were a quiet family while the Platts took over.
Right,
a quiet family. We didn't see a whole lot of them, but now we've got Evelyn. Hopefully we'll have Fizz as well before long, and I'd like Cassie to be a part of that and not just have the permanent, I think I'm just going to relapse, because characters with addictions, although they do relapse, always going back to temptation can get a bit stale for me.
One of Iain Macleod's secret moves has been to expand the Dobbs stakes without really making a fanfare about it, because we've gone from a core group of, I'm going to say 3 characters, because Ruby really was not a big character, so it was just Fizz and Tyrone and Hope. And now we've got 4 generations. Ruby's been recast. You've got Cassie and you've got Evelyn. So really expanding that family. What for? Okay, so let's make a big deal about this family. Let's get someone in. Let's get Terry back. Let's get Tommy back. Recast Tommy.
Tommy Duckworth,
who is he's not part of their family, but he is the heir of the Duckworths. Tyrone is
heir of the cladding.
Tyrone's the spiritual son, but he's the biological son. Is there a claim there? They could write in so easily some kind of, I found a bit of paper behind the bar, like they love to do. Yeah. Get Tommy back. It's a shame that the actor left.
And how?
For whatever reason. There are, and Terry also, what a terror he is. Could he be like the devil on Cassie's shoulder? There's scope, and
I think there is that. It's been 10 years or so since Terry Duckworth has been on the show, and Nigel Provara is still going.
Tyrone's not biologically related to the Duckworths, but they live in that house. He was their foster child for all intents and purposes, and the idea that they live on spiritually in that family. Let's go with that.
Especially, as Hope is getting older, as she can, they keep on trying to give her more things to do. We've got the recast Ruby as well. It does feel to me like that family is still prime. Jenny McAlpine's going to be back on our screens before long. So
who knows also whether Ruby's got a secret half brother or sister. Who knows if Hope does? There's opportunities to expand that family. If you're going to just say, Tyrone's mum's not really his mum, it's a different person and the other one's dead, then anything could happen.
Okay, on the subject of Evelyn, I really would love to see, I hope to see an interior for the charity shop this year.
Oh yeah, good one.
The precinct has had a fairly good start in 2023, and you don't want to blow your whole load at once. And they've actually they've got a load of good shop fronts there. We've started to see more of the flats.
The flats have got interiors, but none of the shops do.
No, exactly. And I think we've heard a lot. We know that Evelyn works at the charity shop. I'd like to see inside of it because sometimes it can get a bit silly. The same as like they've got with. In fact, there's a few sets that we haven't seen for so long. I'd love to be able to bring out of retirement again. The Undertaker's place, which is only a few years old. We've not. I don't think we saw inside of that all of last year. Brian and Kathy's, or not Kathy anymore. Brian's flat. I think it's been 11, 12 years since we've seen inside that. It's always nice to have at least one new or revisited set a year. Last year we obviously had Peter and Carla's new flat, got his grand unveiling, and then we certainly saw a lot of that. So as we stand at the beginning of a new year, I am kind of putting in mind, where are we going to see new this year?
I also want to say that the upstairs of the police station is where they film Chariot Square Hotel.
Yeah.
And there has been so many Chariot Square Hotel scenes that it's a joke now to us, but they're all up the end where the bar is, and there's a lot more to that set. We've both been there. It goes a lot further backwards than... It's like at least twice that size. Why don't you just cut that off and put something else there? Maybe they've done that, I don't know, but I just want something else. Get rid of Chariot Square Hotel. Put something else up there.
That I would kind of almost say that is a prayer. Some of the sets that we see too much, that we don't need to see, let's just reduce it. Chariot Square, the hospital, even the cafe I'm kind of a bit sick of.
What,
Roy's flat. Roy's flat on the other hand, we've not seen in donkey's years. And that's another, well, maybe a donkey's year. But that's another one that we talk about what's going on. Evelyn's moving in. Evelyn spent last year living at Roy's flat. Well, some of it. We didn't see a single scene of them in there.
How nice would it have been to have seen all of her knickknacks competing with Roy's, what's he done with Hayley's things? How she commandeered the kitchen as she booted out some of his Tupperware. There are so many little things that I know the set designers do, and the props department are really good at, giving us information. I think that sometimes people don't register they've even noticed, but how much fun would it have been to have seen?
Yeah, the domestic bliss.
Well, just those little symbols and ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to things I'd like to see less of, I'm going to say I kind of hope that Dee Dee splits from Joel soon and he just disappears off again, because he's been in the show long enough. He's not grabbed me.
Michael.
They've clearly brought him in for a reason, but I'm really not convinced that it's going to be a good one. So I hope that she's split up with him by the end of the year. I hope, and this year... Okay, when I wrote this, I didn't realise that they were about to enter into a new era of a big-ish possible story, but I hope that we don't have too big a focus on the Winter Browns. Obviously, this week is a bit Gemma and Chesney-ish with Linda back on the scene, but when we had a couple of years ago the big story with Joseph and Linda coming in, Joseph going off missing, everyone was so fed up with that family, and I've got a lot of time for Gemma, I really have. Even the quads are quite fun to see, but that story it got to February maybe, and then it was done for the year, and I hope that that's going to be the case as well. I hope that what we're getting with Winter Browns at the moment is their big shot for the year, and then they just graciously pass it on to someone else. Similar, bit less at number 6, please. Yasmin, Stu, Eliza. It's just been bubbling away for quite a lot of 2023, hasn't it, that story? And I don't think anyone's really interested in it. I hope that they listen to feedback, and they probably shouldn't listen to feedback. They need to go with their own creative vision. But I would hope that they say they realise this isn't gripping TV.
But it's
what's
not
going on there.
Yeah, but it's not those characters, it's the story. Because I think, he's become a bit of a what's the word? A kick-in cushion. What do you call it?
Scapegoat?
I think Stu could be so much more interesting than he is. But, he's got like an intriguing backstory of this mysterious murdering family, and we still don't think that we found out the true story behind what happened with
Lucy and Bridget.
Bridget
Charlie,
and all that. And the Coronation Street's quite happy that they've closed the case on that one. So they've taken a really intriguing, like, he was homeless, he had mysterious cough, he was a musician, he's a creative soul.
I did like him a lot more at the start.
He's charming, he's heroic, and they've turned him into a naggy, boring granddad who's obsessed with trying to keep his,
They've kind of made him trying to be a cool granddad, but not actually being one. He was a bit of a loser when Yasmin and Roy were doing the quiz together, and he felt, I don't know anything.
Yeah, what happened with that? Oh, I'm not good enough to be with Yasmin. Okay, well, are you or not? Make your mind up.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hoping that Damon's return is only temporary as well, because I can't be doing with him for another 12 months. If Brian and Mary finally get together, because they dallied around that last year, didn't they? I was sure that we'd have Brian and Mary as a proper bona fide couple by this year, but we haven't. But if they do this year, I'm going to say I hope that it's sweet rather than silly, because I just don't know whether I can stomach a silly, over the top romance story for those. Corrie can be so good at making romances lovely and making you really root for a couple.
Can I say something there about that? Because with Roy and Hayley, they were both atypical, right? They were offbeat, they were unusual people. No one's ever said that Roy is on the spectrum, but everybody thinks that he is. With Mary and Brian, I feel like you could say the same thing. There might be a diagnosis that you could give them that would be a stigma.
I got a few diagnoses for Mary, I'll tell
you. But with Roy and Hayley, they were never the butt of the... Well, Hayley was brought in as that, and both of those characters have
quickly
been
evolved on from
misunderstood,
that.
And the humour has arisen from their misunderstandings. But I never felt like Coronation Street, once they were established, asked us to laugh at them. Whereas Brian and Mary, I feel a bit like we're going, oh, look at these idiots, look at this, they're both socially inept, they don't understand the rules of society.
Thing is, it has worked in the past with like Derek and Mavis, hasn't it? We were meant to laugh at those.
I know, but we're not in that time period now, are we? We're in a world where we are trying to be more understanding of one another. And I think Coronation Street works better when the misfits are the heroes, not the butt of the joke. There have been loads of times when Corrie's done it the other way round, and those are some of its lowest points, in my opinion. So let's make Brian and Mary the heroes of their own story.
Let's want for them to get together. Let's see how they really feel about each other.
Human moments. Let's say
moments.
They're
right.
weird. They're weird, and everyone's weird in their own way. If you took anyone, almost everyone in this country, there's somebody who thinks you're weird because you're not the same as they are. Is that a fun and good story to take away from watching TV? No. Is it better to watch people and say everyone has value and everyone is a human and everyone deserves love and affection and to be regarded for their humanity? That's a much better message. And I think that Corrie's been a bit guilty of dismissing some of the more eccentric characters as kind of... Even Kirk is the same.
Yeah.
It's just a punchline. He's not in on the joke, or he's not... His humanity has been taken away from him.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of speed ones for you. So, one, I would like to see somebody else move into Elaine's apartment, because I actually really like that set. I don't know who, I don't care. The Red Bank apartment, exactly, that she said was
Daniel was going to
very lovely set, nice spiral staircase.
Maybe
let's see a little bit more of that.
Mum.
Could be, yeah. Maybe get Christina back for it. I would adore Evelyn to have a friend. I so want there to be a new snug trio, especially now in the Rovers. They've got those lovely soft furnishings there. They have even with Blanche, she didn't have anyone. We brought June Whitfield in after Blanche died. I so want Evelyn to have a friend or two.
Evelyn and Claudia.
Yeah,
well, and Audrey.
We just saw a bit
Those
of Evelyn.
Those three would be fantastic. They're all and they all hate each other, but they're all forced into friendship. That was what was good about Ina, Minnie, and Martha, because they weren't really natural friends. They were chalk and cheese. They you know, if you didn't watch the old classic episodes, Minnie and Martha were both terrified of Ina. Ina didn't really like anybody.
No.
Minnie was just a ditzy idiot.
But they had each other's backs, didn't they?
Martha thought she was cleverer than both of them. And the three of them somehow managed to, have each other's backs. They didn't have anyone else in the world but each other. And they tolerated each other as kind of like a found family in your twilight years.
We've seen an awful lot of it evil in this past year, and I think, you know, there's no reason to think that she's going to be slowing down anytime soon. But I would. That's probably one of my biggest ones. Though, give us some friends. Let's recreate that Snug Trio. It's been 60 years. It's been 60 years. We're not going to say, oh, that's been done before.
Well, hang on, yeah. I just want to say, how many times have you heard, oh, it's the new Jack and Vera, or blah blah blah. They try to recreate. Some, you know, even when Daniel and Adam at the very beginning, it's like, oh, it's the new Mike and Ken. There are loads of times when they've gone, oh, look, it's the new so-and-so, but nobody's really gone, it's the new but because people don't really know what that is now. But that's no reason to not try to recreate it, because I genuinely think you're right. That would be great.
I'd love it. Okay, I'd also like to see stories revolving more around the characters that we know already, rather than bringing in more temporary characters.
Yeah.
Like, here's so-and-so for this story, then they're going to go off again. I mean, look at Courtney last year, and what was it, Darren, was that the guy's name? There's already, as you said, a huge cast. Give them something to do. I think I'd like to see Max and Sabrina stay together. I really hope we get to see more Gav, because I think he's fantastic.
Sabrina and Gav are brilliant.
Both of them have been far too underused. In often when they bring in characters, they like to throw them into something big. They haven't done that yet with those two. I really hope that this is the year for them. I'd love there to be a big unexpected character return that the press pay attention to. Something to say, oh, look, Corrie still got it. Look who we got, look who we managed to entice back. Don't know who, but I'd love that to happen, because we've got lots and lots of returns just in the past few weeks. We've had, just Linda recently, we've had Damon, we've had Harvey, we've had Bethany. I suppose she's the big one, really, but I want to go bigger. I'd really love, and I don't think this is going to happen, but hey, this is my prayers, to them to start looking into developing the Brewery Lane area of the set, because there's a lot of untapped potential around the back of the factory. I'm not going to stop banging on about that until they do it. I'd like to see, there's the obvious ones, you know, more location shoots, fewer spoilers. Come on, let's have some proper big twists that we do not see coming. Time and time again, it's proven that it works to get people excited about your show when you're not expecting something because it's not been previewed anywhere. I'd obviously love them to ease off the experimental editing a little bit. We don't need woo-woo in our Weatherfield. I'd like to see.
You've got a lot more of these.
Yeah, we didn't set a number, did we? I'll always keep renewing my prayer for a new title sequence. They've had this one far too long. I never really liked it anyway. It's too blurry. Let's go back to a more classic style one. It's silly. We don't need to see wider Weatherfield. Let's see a proper old school.
Well, let's not rub it in by showing, oh, this is Manchester, but you're never going to see it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like them to continue to resist putting the box sets on ITVX. We don't need to talk about that because I think we've said enough about that one already. And I'd love there to be something new and exciting at the Coronation Street experience. It's just going to force us to go out to Manchester again to the tour to see whatever it is that they've got on display. And there might be more, but I think that'll do for now.
I'm kind of going box sets on.
Yeah, you know, the early episodes.
Resist it.
Yeah, I don't want them to. Oh no, as in. Sorry, maybe box set's not the right terms. The early episode.
You don't want early episodes available for people to watch.
Yes.
Why?
No, as in the early episodes of here's what's coming up this week. You don't need to wait until Monday, Wednesday, Friday night.
You didn't want the 60s.
Oh no, stick the whole of the last 60 years on ITV.
I was going to say.
Sorry, no, I think I did say the wrong thing then. You know what I mean. Okay.
No, I don't. That's why I asked you.
Well,
we don't want previews. We don't want them to put today's episode on at 6 o'clock in the morning.
No, we do not want that.
I've had many reasons why that would be stupid, but they're going to do
Wouldn't work for us.
Yeah, they're going to do it.
Right, predictions then, Gemma. Into the actual what do we think is going to happen in just a few bullet points. Where these stories going to take us? What do we think?
I think the focus is going to be on Shona and David.
Do you? Oh, I do hope so.
Sarah, Adam and Damon.
I think
These
it
are
is.
predictions. These aren't necessarily what I want. And Maria and Gary. And I think there's going to be some kind of medical issue. Maybe I think menopause or some kind of thing for Maria.
We had a little bit of menopausey for Faye just last year, didn't we?
It.
They did flub that. They gave it her, didn't really see much of it, and then she flounced off.
No one could relate to it at all.
So
the way they did it.
You reckon that it's time for the Platts to come to the forefront?
Platts and Gary and Maria, because I
Do you think that Gary and Maria might get involved with Damon? You know, with Maria in a counsellor role, is he going to try and get a bit from the council, and Gary with his bad boy? Is it going to
bad boy duel?
Yeah.
Right. One of the people who are having an affair will get pregnant. So Bethany, Sarah, or Nina.
Right. So one of the people currently having an affair.
Yeah.
Bethany. Who's Bethany having a? Oh, I suppose
Daniel.
just having a bit of a sleep about. So you reckon Bethany's going to get pregnant, or
Sarah or Nina?
Or Nina with Ardy?
Yeah.
If that carries on, it seems like it was maybe a one-off, but
these are just predictions.
No, that's okay.
Asha and Nina are going to break up, which already happened, and Ardy and Amy get together. Paul will not choose to go with assisted dying, but something will happen to make him die sooner. But Gallus will make an investigation, and then because she remembers him,
who will make an investigation?
Dr. Gallus.
Oh, okay. So tell me what that there. You're rushing through these. We've got some good predictions here.
These are just predictions.
Yeah, I know, but what
doesn't mean I know how it's going to happen.
So you think he's not going to go down the assisted dying route?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because it's too depressing.
You think it's...
Because it's already been done.
I think...
Because they've done a lot of... I think they've done enough talking about it to have justified you to think about it, but then there'll be a twist.
They have done a fairly good job, I think, over the past week or so of showing why it's natural for Paul to want this, or for why we should be saying, oh, okay, Paul, if this is what you want. But I think, like going into my prayers, that Paul gets a feel-good ending. You're right, I think maybe they're going to say, well, this would be good, but actually even better would be X, Y, and Z. And then everyone's going to be happy. Because if he goes down the assisted dying route, then you got the who's going to get in trouble for it, or do they just avoid somebody getting in trouble, and then it feels like a bit of a cop-out. I don't necessarily need that. So, okay, that's not a bad one. What else you got?
Ryan will return. He and Daisy will get together. Bethany will dump Daniel, and Daniel will win Daisy back, and they get married at Christmas.
Who's getting married at Christmas?
Daniel and Daisy.
Daniel, do you reckon? You reckon they're going to get back together?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think that they should. I don't know. Okay. This is a prediction. It doesn't mean I think Daniel and Daisy are like Love's young dream or anything, but they work better than Ryan and... I think they work better than Daniel and Bethany work, and they work better than Ryan and Daisy work.
I think so as well. I mean, it feels like that's going... Ryan's return is completely inevitable.
If you're talking about who is a major character, with the best will in the world, Daniel, because of his heritage, is a bigger character than Ryan. So to have Daisy, who I think Coronation Street's put a lot of faith in, who is proven herself to be wildly popular because of the actress, to put her with Daniel makes more sense than to put her with Ryan.
It might not make sense for the characters at the moment, but I do feel that they had a lot of love for each other. It would be a real shame if Daisy, who I genuinely believed her affection for Bertie, that she never had anything to do with them anymore. Well, I think they made a really nice family.
For Coronation Street
I know. I think the family scenes that we saw when she wasn't kind of skulking about because she's fantasizing over Ryan, I felt that there was potential there. And you're right, with Bethany, with Daniel, it just feels a bit... He's taking advantage, maybe. But even though it's not, that's how it feels.
Dee Dee and Joel will become more serious, and it's revealed he has a dark secret.
What?
These aren't necessarily things that I've worked out what I really think the answer is, but it just feels like this is where it's going. There's
got to be more to me. Joel at the moment as a character is so shallow, so blur, so nothing. There's got to be something there.
You can pick holes in every single one of these predictions I've made, but I'm basing them off of Coronation Street, so pick holes in them, not me. It's revealed Lauren has been a sex worker, and she asks for Mac's help to get out of it. And there is a physical confrontation between him and one of Lauren's clients, and Max goes to hospital.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, even with Lauren going off to see her boyfriend in inverted commas in the last episode, it feels like a reveal could be imminent. So maybe we won't have to wait too long for that one. But yeah, Max. I wonder whether Max is going to be sniffing around Lauren too much, and Sabrina will eventually get the hump
fed up
from
with
it,
it.
because
Yeah.
she was very. She seemed fine with Max, like cutting Lauren's hair the other day, you know, getting his hands over her. She doesn't feel threatened by Lauren at the moment, so it's not a wild stretch to think that eventually she's going to say, no, hang on a minute, and maybe Max will defend her too much. Too far, I don't know.
Ed sells the yard to Gary and regrets it, and Gary fills the yard with crap.
What sort? From his furniture business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenny and Daisy's theft is discovered by Bobby,
Mm-hmm.
who will tell Carla,
Okay.
who will make them pay it back bit by bit. The police are never involved. Jenny and Daisy squabble over who is in charge. Daisy pulls a stunt that gets loads of money, but alienates older customers. And Jenny gets mad at her, but then they agree to work together.
A bit more of a lengthy prediction there. I kind of hope that whatever Daisy does doesn't alienate the older customers, because
What it will be like for 2 episodes.
Okay. I think they've got to be found out. I don't know, you know, Coronation Street does plan things many, many, many months in advance.
They're not sending Jenny or Daisy to prison.
I would hope not. There's going to be some bickering, like you said, between their ideas. They've got to be found out, but Bobby's not a bad prediction, especially if it needs to get back to Carla. I wonder how that would happen. But he's got to have some purpose.
I'm just the
hasn't he?
ideas woman. I'm not the nitty gritty woman.
Okay.
Cassie gets driven out of the street by Abby and Fizz,
Okay.
but her departure is not permanent.
Okay. So when Fizz comes back,
Yep.
do you reckon
from
that Cassie's
watching or
gonna
whatever.
Fizz isn't gonna be
They'll be
play
like,
happy
"Get out."
families with her?
No, she's like, who are you?
Okay.
Right. Alia will leave to spend time with Zidane after Stuart and Yasmin's relationship breaks down and Alia gets fed up with it.
Oh, well, we do know Serkan is pregnant. I didn't even remember that when I was putting my predictions
Yeah.
together. So there's got to be a reason that Alia leaves the street. You reckon just go and see Zidane?
Yeah, go and see Zidane, the convenient relative.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, there are many convenient relatives positioned all across the globe.
That's not a bad one at all. I hadn't considered that. I mean, the way that the small amount that we've seen Alia in the past year, she could go off on maternity leave and just not say anything at all. But
I think she's ready to pop, so it won't be long. Bethany has a secret boyfriend that she's trying to win back, and she's also writing an expose on Stephen's killing spree.
Right. Yeah. No, we've seen that she has got some secret, haven't we? A secret boyfriend.
Yep. Steve and
Not gonna be happy when he
Tracy.
finds out what she got up to on New Year's Eve.
Steve and Tracy will cheat on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Their feelings will get hurt, and Abel will try to intervene and make them realise how much they loved each other. It doesn't work, but at Christmas, one of their boyfriends or girlfriends will dump them, and they will kiss under the mistletoe, but then they will reunite at New Year.
So
That's the end of my prediction.
rocky year for the McDonald's, but they're going to be back
We've
together
already been
before the end
told
of
in
the year.
painstaking detail by Exposition Fairy that they are on the rocks.
Tommy Orpington's come along, so that's Tracy's new squeeze for 2024. Any particular ideas for who Steve might be
Evelyn.
getting off with? Evelyn, don't be so ridiculous.
Cassie.
he possibly could with
Yasmin.
Cassie, to be honest. No, I don't.
Cassie would be quite a bit rough, wouldn't she?
Yeah,
I think they get on all right.
she might remind him of Becky.
Well, whose teeth is she more similar to?
Okay, well, I don't think there's anything there that you said that was completely out of the question. We'll come back in 12 months and see whether we were alright with that.
It doesn't fit, like, some of these things are not necessarily the most logical, but, like, knowing how Corrie works, I don't think that they're completely unreasonable.
No, absolutely. Okay, so here's mine then. Number 1, whoever takes the producer role, fans aren't going to be happy. Is that like the easiest prediction ever? Can't make fans happy.
It will be somebody from another. It will be obviously.
There's such a small pool.
Someone from another soap, or it's going to be somebody promoted from within, and people will complain.
We spoke about it potentially being Verity McLeod last week. I still think that she's very, you know, she's probably my top pick for who it's going to
Is
be.
she very likely?
Yes. But I think that when it gets announced, I can't think who it could be where there's a unanimous, brilliant, Corrie's gonna turn around here, and unless it's maybe an unknown, I don't know.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
Gem Cox, GEMCOX.
You're not going to get the producer
at
role.
gmail.com. GEMCOX@gmail.com is my email if you would like to invite me. I will be happy to do it for a year for at least £101,000.
Okay, well let's hear your predictions,
That would
your
suit
pictures
me
first.
quite nicely.
Would you like that? Okay, you said that Bobby's going to find out about the money. I think it's Bethany. I think that
investigative journalism. Yeah,
she's going to be doing her investigative journalism. She's going to find out about the money. She's going to use that to blackmail Daisy because we've already seen them locking horns at the beginning of 2024. That's clearly going to carry on. And they'll be at each other's throats for a good chunk of the year. But I think that if she finds out about it, then that will certainly put the cat among the pigeons. A little bit of blackmail, maybe. Mm-hmm. Especially as the money, not technically belongs to her, but it was in her family for a little bit when Stephen took it.
I'm not sure about that one, Michael, but
okay fine. That's just my
that's okay.
understanding of the law officer.
Is that why you've been dipping your hand in my purse?
Still on the Rovers, I am sadly going to predict that it will still be fairly empty. Even though I'd love for it to be full, I want it to be the hub, the heart of the community, the new cafe. I want there to be packed with main characters with the odd extra
Regulars.
In the background.
Yep.
I think it's not. I don't think it's going to be any different than it was before. I think that people will think, what was the point of having that story where Jenny sold the Rovers for a few months? It had some good scenes of it. We got to see a lot of Sally Ann Matthews. I'm never going to complain about that. But already the Rovers is closed. Oh no, Waterford's, it's going to be flat. I'm like, no, it's not. And then, anyway, back to normal. Take a few dust sheets off and it's right as rain. It's like it was never gone. I really think that we're going to be at the end of the year still be in a situation when we're saying, use the Rovers more. That's my kind of one of my negative predictions there. I think that Ryan obviously is going to return. You said that too. And that he and Daisy are going to become an item. I'm thinking that Ryan's probably going to go back to not having much to do with Carla anymore.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really involved with Carla at all until the acid attack, was he, if I remember rightly? He was Debbie was more of his mother figure, if you like, with her being his boss at the bistro in the hotel. So yeah, I think that back, not much to do with Carla because she's going to have enough on her plate with Bobby. Lots of falling out between Jenny and Daisy in the pub, like you said. That seems fairly inevitable. Another one that I think with that, I still don't feel like we've got a resolution. Do you remember that time when Toya was in the cafe with Carla and Carla made that really catty remark about her? I thought it was going to lead to some kind of affair with Toya and Peter and it'd give Carla a reason to really hate her, but there's been nothing. So I think that was maybe planting the seeds of something that maybe in 2024 we're going to have Toya and Leanne versus Carla. I haven't kind of thought it through any more than that. I think having Toya in the bistro, as much as I've not really enjoyed that move, it's meant that we've had more Battersby sisters together. Even better if we get Eva back on the show to make that perfect trio again. But yeah, those two against Carla, I think we might see. I do think Abby's going to get a big story again. I think they've just got to. It'd be nuts not to. It's not just a prayer. It's a come on, seriously. But I don't know whether Kevin's going to be heavily involved in it. You know, we've seen bits and pieces with the Cassie story, but
the strongest.
He's not the most exciting of characters, and I think that Abby can do a better story without him sometimes, and I think that's probably what we're going to see. He's a great
actor, though.
Oh yeah, Mike Laval's great.
I just think that the character's in a bit of a corner.
They've turned him into a grump, and they can't get him out of that grumpy rut, can they?
I hate being in a grumpy rut.
Right, here's a bold one, Gemma. I think that either Dylan or Mason...
Dylan?
Yeah, are going to realise they're gay.
I thought you were going to say we're going to die.
No, I think that they're going down that route. I think that
You think that the whole thing, the bullying, is actually like
Mason's...
repressed sexual urges?
I don't think that's all
Michael,
it is.
hang on a minute. Sorry, everybody. We watched Saltburn at the weekend. I think this might be influencing
We did.
Michael's.
No, I came up with this before seeing Saltburn. I think that...
Just checking.
Mason, I think it would be a bit of a twist.
Is it his eyelashes?
No,
Okay,
I just think
checking.
he's been so kind of hanging on to that. Your dad's gay. You're you know, hasn't he?
Right, yeah,
He's
yeah,
been
yeah.
using that against, and that might be a way of saying, "Oh, I don't want to confront my own feelings."
Right.
And or you know, maybe it's Dylan who's saying, "No, I'm not gay. I'm all mad. I'm going up to bed with what's her face, that girl in the Rovers. Remember the other month?
Slagina.
But they didn't do anything up there." So I'm going to say
maybe both.
One of them
Maybe
could
they
be
run off
both.
together.
Maybe Dylan. I'm not going to put that as a prediction, but I think that one of them might realise they're gay this year.
Well, that's my pitch.
Okay.
Very nice.
I still going to stick with that. I think that Jim bumped off Shelley. I think that Todd is going to... Yes, Jim the PA is gonna be turned out to that he helped Shelley shuffle off this mortal coil. But I think that Todd is going to tell Moses about Paul's plans. There's got to be something that's going to happen from the fact that a good chunk of people know about Paul's intentions now.
I was going to say Moses is there for a reason, but that would be a bit of a frivolous thing to say about Coronation Street in its current era.
It completely makes sense for Paul to have a carer in the situation he's in, but the fact that they've given him a character, there's a bit of a mystery with what's he doing over here from where was he from? Nigeria. He said personal reasons. He's not gone so far as to say it was because I'm gay, but there's some fairly obvious gaps to fill there. Todd's got to be with him for a reason. I don't believe it's just because they want to give Todd a romantic interest. So your predictions
are everyone's gay?
Well, no, this is not a prediction. That's a literal case that they are. But I think Moses is going to find out via Todd.
Moses is going to run off with Dylan and Mason.
Yeah.
Great.
Similar,
I'm all for it.
on the same line of that story, I'm going to say, I think that we will see... Do I think this anymore? I don't know. At the time when I wrote this, I thought we would see Paul's condition deteriorate more than we thought it would. Because everyone's saying, how's it going to go? They can't seriously make him do X, Y, Z. They're going to surely have to bump him off soon. Now, we know that he's only got, 4 to 8 months left, maybe. But I didn't even expect that they'd go as far with his mobility as they're doing now, to be honest. So I'm going to throw it out there that we get to see a very, very... Rapid decline for Paul. And... tied into that, I think that Peter Asher is going to continue to be absolutely brilliant with it. I predict, here's my, my gay prediction for Dylan and Mason. I think that the last thing that we will hear him say on his speaking machine is "I love you, Billy." There's a bold one. Write that down. We saw him record that. That's going to be his last words. "I love you, Billy."
I think you're right.
Yeah. And I think that he's going to have a celebration of life type funeral.
I think it should be, I prefer the old summer, but...
I think it's mint. Okay.
Bang in. Oh, Paul.
Okay. I think that probably Sarah and Adam together by the end of the year again. It feels like it's just a very large bump in the road and things are going to go back to the status quo after the whole of this. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever.
Because they're so beautiful.
And again, I also think that whatever may happen between Tracy and Tommy and Steve, I think that Tracy and Steve will be back together by the end of the year. They feel that you said that one as well.
We haven't had many crossovers.
No. I'm going to say, and I've had some specific predictions. Here's my vague one. Another character who hasn't really been used or hasn't impressed us very much are going to surprise us by getting a big dramatic story and doing brilliantly. Like we had with Ryan, like we had with Paul, and I don't know who it's going to be, but I think somebody who we're a bit on at the moment, by the end of the year, we're going to be saying, thank goodness they've given them a big chance. This is amazing. Okay,
if it's Lauren or Bobby, I will be thrilled because I really want to believe in these two characters.
Yeah, me
the
too.
Actors working really hard. They do not deserve all the criticism just from us, no. Coming their way, I want them to succeed. I want everyone to succeed.
I'm going to say Ardy and Amy lock in for Hello Love nomination. They're going to be a couple by the end of the year, surely. It's just dilly-dallying around getting to that place.
Here's a question, Michael, to consider for the long term. Which of the current crop of teens are going to have a baby first? Because one of them's going to have a baby and keep it.
I've had a few close calls for Amy and Summer.
We certainly have. But, yeah... Who's going to be the first one to raise a family? And are they going to do it with a Corrie, alumni, or is it going to be a newbie? Oh,
I don't know.
Could Ardy and Amy be the first Corrie?
They still feel a bit young,
I know.
but they do like to pop them out early.
I think I'm going to say one thing. If you're listening to this now, have a baby at 18, get over and done with. Be free by the time you're 40. It's life begins at 40. Don't listen to me.
Tied into that,
it's a joke. Please don't do that.
Tied into that, I'm going to say we are going to have a birth this year, an actual bona fide baby birth.
Oh,
because we didn't have one at all last year. The last baby
Yeah.
that was popped out on Coronation Street was little Alfie, and that's coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
We haven't been 2 calendar years in Coronation Street without a baby since the gap between Sarah Louise and Rosie, when it was like 1987 to 1990. There's always babies coming out in Corrie. I know they like to have their miscarriages as well, but I think it's going to be time. I think this is going to be the year. I think we're going to have... I think... did you say that Fizz and Cassie are going to clash when she gets back?
Yes,
I think that's got to be an issue, and that seems like a very easy one. I think there's going to be, sadly, continued tragic underuse of Eileen. I'm not sure what's going on. We barely saw any of Eileen last year, and I don't think that 2024's. I just got a feeling that it's not going to change. Sadly, I'm going to say Eliza is going to end up staying at number 6. I think we'll be. I don't know whether we'll... Do you think we're going to see Dom again this year, or have we seen the last of him? Now he's gone to Germany.
Might turn up for like a week and then go away again.
Yeah, no, you're right. Maybe that just to put an end to that story, we might see him. But anyway, Eliza's going to be back at number 6 by the end, I reckon. I think we are not going to get any news of Alina. We've had a few years where we've said, is Alina going to... Do you reckon this year is going to be the year when Alina turns up with Tyrone's baby? I'm going to say no.
We've predicted it every year since she left, so probably this year.
I'm going to say Rita and Audrey going to carry on working, even though they far past the time that they should have retired. And love interest for Glenda. Abby's into that one. I don't think she's into cats though, Abby, I'm afraid. Don't you think it's time that Glenda got a fella? Or do you prefer her as a singleton, as just being the sassy one behind the bar? Do you think we're gonna get more of a character development for her?
I don't need everyone to have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Do you think that... Would you like her to have one specifically?
Do you not think that one of the big things that went wrong with Mary was, beyond her crush on Norris, making her run after men?
So I do get a bit fed up with her fancying Adam, I suppose. Maybe a man
and
would
Ben
tie...
Shepherd.
And Ben Shepherd, yes. You're right, maybe a man would kind of get in the way of what makes Glenda quite so bombastic on her own.
Which just turns it into a story about a romance, which is...
Yeah, maybe there's enough of that. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen. Still got it there as a prediction.
Not everybody has a story, like, about... lots of people just get married without drama in real life. So Corrie could do the same thing.
Well, we'll just have to see.
Maybe she can date Joel.
I've got no more predictions there. I think that I've got a couple of vague ones, a couple of specific ones. None of them are very lengthy. Let's come back in 12 months and see whether we're right there. Do you wanna have a look at a few lists? No, let's get our pictures out of the way, and then we'll have a go with some listener predictions, and we'll have a look at some of ours last year. Tell me your pictures, Gemma. What's going to happen? This isn't a what's going to happen. This is a what would you make happen if you were in charge.
This was really hard. Normally I think I'm better at this, but I feel like I was stifled.
Were your creative juices not quite flowing?
Well, it's because it was because we turned it into prayers, predictions, and pictures, and so it made it more difficult. normally it's more free. So my pitch for I've written, Adam is full of jealousy over Damon coming back to the street and being with Sarah. And then I stopped writing it because I just couldn't be bothered, and then I came back to it and I was like, I don't know.
Well,
what could happen? I don't know.
I mean, he's teaming up with Damon now, isn't it? This is the thing. There's so much that's going on at the moment that I'm not like mega excited to see where it's going to go.
He's not teaming up with Damon. He's teaming up with
Harvey.
Harvey. Yeah. Okay. Joel's secret is that he's been giving legal advice to the mob.
Okay. Tell me more.
But he decides to go straight for Dee Dee's sake. There's a confrontation and a car chase, and he gets chucked off a bridge and dies.
That's what you'd like to happen, is it? Just a way of getting... So Joel, that would make him interesting at least, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Secret mafia lawyer.
He's so boring. Right, Bethany's secret boyfriend is actually her editor, and she keeps trying to impress him with new stories and getting herself into scrapes by being nosy.
Mm-hmm.
People start reading about themselves in magazines, but it's all under a pen name, until someone feeds her fake information and she gets caught.
So Bethany's going to be dobbing up all her neighbours.
She's going to be writing
secretly,
like sordid, kind of like what Ken used to do.
Yeah.
When he was writing, he kind of wrote about his neighbours and they all got mad. It's going to be the modern day version of that. Like on the front of Chit Chat magazine.
They also had, what was it? But didn't they have... Claudia was feeding Ken stories about what Audrey used to be like back in the day.
It was about her It was about her youth as a wild hairstylist and all the raunchy escapades she got up to.
So it's going to be like that, but Bethany's going to be the one penning all the
she's
all the sordid details.
But her boyfriend is the editor, the one she was on the phone to.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, please let me have another chance." Paul will die in a heroic way that gives him agency without being assisted suicide.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah.
Don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Maybe he jumps off of the bridge with Joel. I don't know.
I don't know whether he's going to be in a position to do much jumping at the moment.
I know, this is what I mean.
You might have to get tipped.
This is what I mean. When I originally envisaged how would they get out of Paul... Because I never wanted him to sort of die in a bed, like Yoda. Or...
Spoiler.
Or die like Yoda disappears into nothing, or die like Haley. So I was like, what could he do? And somehow in my mind it kind of melded into that bit where Pat Phelan jumps in the way of Carla and chucks his chips on the floor. I was like, how could Paul do that?
Yeah.
The thing is, there's not really many ways you can do it with a motorised wheelchair. That doesn't kind of slightly come off a bit silly. And I'm not trying to be horrible, but I don't know how they could do it now.
He could crush somebody with that wheelchair, couldn't he?
How could he do it?
Harvey's just about to clonk some around the head and Paul wheels off himself off something and splats down on the top of him.
Or maybe he just, he calls attention to somebody and they shoot him, or I really don't know, but it's not my job to work that out. Like I said, gemcox@gmail.com if you want. Nina decides to take her fashion qualification seriously and has a fashion show during the summer, and she gets scouted.
Oh, a mannequin parade.
A mannequin parade.
Okay.
Yeah. Bobby.
Why do you... I quite like to see Nina using more of that, because she came in as this kind of kooky arts... Was she an art student or fashion?
She had a room full of weird...
she did over at Richard's house, and that's kind of just been sucked out of her, and it's like now she just works at the cafe.
Yes, but she goes to college.
Yeah,
and
apparently
she's pursuing some kind of fashion qualification. But I want her to, in the absence of being Ash's girlfriend, to actually realise and reinvent herself and remember who she is, just like Simba did, and stand on her own 2 feet. And maybe she goes to Paris for 6 months, or maybe she just gets hired by Carla to design knickers again. But I want her to become a more powerful and independent character who isn't just Ash's girlfriend.
Yeah, she's certainly lost a bit of that over the year, for sure.
final one. Bobby is really Rob's son, because I know there's been a bit of questions about, is he really?
What's Bobby going to be up to this year then? What's his big story?
He has been sent to spy on Tracy.
Right.
Because Rob has got parole and he turns up to win Tracy back.
You got a Rob return pitch, have you? I think lots of people would like to see Mike Bayliss back in the street again.
And that's why he, he's like, what's she like? How can I win her back? And so Rob can turn up, in a Rolls Royce with a chicken tikka masala and a bottle of Prosecco, just like she would always dreamed of.
Okay, right. So if you are listening at Coronation
These
Street,
are not predictions that are really great. I'm sorry, but I struggled.
I know what you mean. I've gone a bit crazy with mine. But this is my first prediction. Number 1, Gemma, Henry's return again.
Henry's re-return.
I think we had this idea back when he left. And when the whole Rovers selling and Newton and Ridley going under happened. But basically, my story goes thusly. Maria's next big thing, Maria's next big thing as a counsellor.
To confuse them.
Yeah, what's she going to get a knickers in a twist about this time? What's going to be her new thing that she's going to champion for 2024?
Recycling.
What's the big... No.
Alcoholism.
No. Food banks. Yeah? Food banks are a thing.
George Banks plays Henry Newton.
I didn't even think that. Right, so this is the start. Maria is doing a food bank. She's setting it up because it's something that Weatherfield is severely lacking, and all these donations for the food bank. They're going to
imagine what Gemma and Chesney would better do for the food bank.
I know. So we're going to have Freshco are going to be donating stuff there. Via Ardy, now that he's working there. And although he can't...
Fire Ardy?
No, via Ardy.
Oh, okay.
Ardy brings stuff from Freshco's to the food bank.
Good
but I don't think he's going to be able to persuade Dev to give anything from the food shop. I think that Stu's going to be helping out. Billy will be. I don't know whether Paul's dead at this point, I'm assuming. So, but with financial...
He can't donate any... That's poor taste.
Sorry.
No, what parts of Paul? I know we've all enjoyed the Society of the Snow, but we're not donating flesh to food banks.
So, food banks set up in Weatherfield, yeah. Financial woes at number 5 still rife. So, Gemma, as you said, finally decides to go to the food bank. And who should she find there? Down on his luck, Henry Newton. Yes. So he got all this money from the Newton and Ridley sale, or I can't remember, but he ended up coining it in. But I reckon he's gambled it all away. Everything from his severance package, it's gone. We know that he's not been the most sensible chap. I think that a fool and his money are soon parted, and that's going to be what we'll see with Henry. So much to Chesney's annoyance, I can't get any of my names out today. Gemma is going to help Henry to get back on his feet. First by offering him a sofa to sleep on at number 5. Then she's going to get him a job at managing the charity shop. Yeah, managing Gregory Pope.
Paid for that, but okay.
Doesn't matter because you do as a manager.
It's a good experience.
You do as a manager. If you work there as a helper, you don't.
It's called a volunteer.
I looked this up. Managers at charity shops get paid.
How much?
And that's why I say that he's going to do that. And I think that is rife for comedy potential with him trying to boss Evelyn around. Can you imagine?
I love that.
That would be amazing.
Is it more or less than Coronation Street producer? Because I am open for either.
Yeah, there'll be bidding war for you, Gemma. Okay, so this is going to then allow Henry to move into one of the upstairs flats with all this Gregory Pope moolah. And he's going to learn to be a lot more humble and grateful. And although Gemma refuses to fall for his charms again, he does turn the head of...
Lauren.
Biz. She's back in Weatherfield on a break from Tyrone because she comes back, can't stick living with Cassie. Bothered. So she's like, I can't do this. Yeah. But yeah, Henry turns Fiz's face, head.
Turns her face.
And the rest of her, yeah.
Towards the sun.
Maybe a bit of her hair as well. Evelyn is going to find out about Henry's affair with Fizz because Henry is her boss, so it kind of comes out there somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, a lot of feelings there. She needs to tell Tyrone, but she doesn't want to risk losing her job. So much drama's going to come out of this, I tell you.
This is great.
In the end, all comes out about Henry and Fizz officially being an item. Gemma...
Henry and Fizz.
Yeah, Henry and Fizz. It could happen. It could. I think that they'd make a good couple. Gemma loves having Henry as part of the family.
Yeah.
But Chesney can't believe Now he has his rival as a potential future brother-in-law. So Chesney just wants to get Henry out of his life, and now his sister is dating him.
That's amazing.
So there is my picture of Henry's return. Yeah, would you go for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Next one.
That makes all of mine look crap.
Don't worry. It's all right. My next one, you like this one. This is my 6-beater, yeah? We said we wanted a mystery this year. This is my pitch from a mystery. You ready for this? It's called The Bathroom Bomber.
Is this to do with crapping in the toilet?
No, it's not. I know you go to the lowest common denominator. Right, so picture the scene, Gemma. It's dark.
I'm picturing it. You need to hurry up because I'm picturing
Dark,
something else.
it's night
probably.
time. A taxi pulls up in the street. We hear a cabbie talking to an unseen passenger, going and the cabbie's like going, yeah, things haven't changed much since you were here last, but you're bound to notice a few differences after that many years. Even the Rovers is a bit different now. Maybe you should get that old friend of yours to take you in there for a drink. We don't know who this person
Who is. It?
It's a mystery, isn't it?
Bomber. Is it a bathroom bomber?
Yes, it will be. Let me get to it. So we've got a return of a character who we know from this little conversation with the taxi, or from this one-sided conversation, that he has been, or she has been, to the street before. So the passenger gets out the back, long coat, hood up, no idea who this is. POV shot as they start to walk down the street. The Rovers is bustling. The whole street is in Rovers because they're celebrating the sale of the pub going through, because don't forget, Jenny and Daisy are still working there without actually owning it properly. I can't remember how it's working. So next cut, an unknown bathroom, Gemma. Now this is good because we don't know what anyone's bathroom in Coronation Street looks like, do we? Apart from Paul and Billy's. So this could be anybody's. Still a POV shot. The side of the bath is taken down and an explosive device is put underneath the bath. Yeah? The dial is turned. The bomb is set to explode at a future date. Maybe, I know, Britain's Got Talent Week, Super Soap Week, maybe.
It's a long time.
The bath is put back to normal. Figure leaves. We've still got no idea who this is. And that's going to be the mystery that sets up the year. One, we don't know who the bathroom bomber is. We know it's a returning character, but we've got no idea who it is. And also, we don't know whose bathroom the bomb is going to blow up in.
But what, is it a flash forward?
No. It's the opposite. Somebody has arrived on the street, they've set a bomb to explode.
Timer.
Because what that would then lead to is months of guessing games. Who's the bomber? Whose bathroom have they left the bomb in? Will it be found out in time?
Well, someone's arrived.
What do you mean?
Well, this person's new, it must be them.
That's the genius of it. Because over the course of 2024, we have a slew of returning villains to Coronation Street. Yeah? So we're going to see Mad Maya come back. We're going to see Linda come back. We're going to see Kaz come back. It's going to be everybody, big or small villain. Terry Duckworth, Grace, Sharon's going to come back. Jade, Rob, I've said. You said Rob to come back with yours. Yeah. So basically, we've got a year of villains coming back, and we know that one of them has put a bomb in somebody's bathroom, but we don't know who it is. Now, in this bathroom scene, they're going to see a few clues in there that's going to lead viewers to say, oh, maybe that I saw. They use that shampoo. I think that this character would use. There's going to be various clues to make people guess whose bathroom it is. And then over the course of the few months, there's going to be other clues dropped in the dialogue. People are going to say, oh, I hate baths. I haven't got a bath. I've only got a shower. And we go, oh, okay, so it can't be that one then. And then as we get closer to this date that we see on the bomb, the suspects are dropping off. Eventually the list's going to get narrowed down to 5, so we got like 5 potential victims. Each one's got a different reason to be in the bathroom when the bomb's off. I don't know what that could be. So anyway, who gets killed? Are the neighbours' house damaged? Drama.
Oh yeah.
Do you like that one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's great. Sounds really good.
You see how that's kind of similar to the 6th story, and that you're kind of guessing it's like a flash forward, but not. It's just a timer on a bomb.
I don't know how that would really work. But...
Why? That's how bombs work, isn't it? You just turn a dial enough, and then there's a giant countdown. Do you like the idea of having a load of villains back?
Yeah.
Okay. Final pitch, Gemma. Something for Bobby. What am I going to have? You said
he blows up in a bomb.
Well, maybe it is going to be him in the end. I don't know. So, as we know, Rob is out of prison. I've said that he's going to come back. You said he's going to come back.
We all know it.
So, he's escaped again, I think. But he's living on the streets. He's going to the food bank. This is all tied in. He's scrounging whatever scraps he can. There's some close calls when he's almost spotted by Marie at the food bank, but she didn't see him. So having been responsible for setting the food bank up, Maria is kind of going back and forth there. On one time, she accidentally leaves behind the keys to the furniture shop. Yeah?
Okay.
Because of Gary, he's got them. So Rob swipes them, gets a copy cut, returns them before Maria's noticed. And then, although Gary still owns the premises of the furniture shop, the business is closed. He's got the yard now. He's not having anything to do with that. So, what does that mean? Perfect hideout for Rob. So he's now got a little base of operations there in the abandoned furniture shop. He just goes to the food bank under cover of darkness. Another close call maybe when Fizz comes back from Norwich. She goes to check out how her old workplace is doing. So there's been a couple of close calls there for Rob. This is, I promise, this is a Bobby story. It's coming up soon, honestly.
Is Bob... Okay, yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So Fizz is then offered to run is going to be offered the chance to run the shop herself by Gary, because she did so excellently before. Rob worries his hideout's going to be rumbled, but luckily for him, she turns it down because now she's just got a promotion in the factory. All fine for Rob so far, still hiding away. Eventually, though, Gary decides to sell the furniture shop, and Fizz has come up with the idea in the meantime that she wants to turn it into an outlet store for the factory. So they're going to be making loads of stuff, maybe a few non-knickery things. Maybe Michael's going to come up with an idea for a range of socks or something. But anyway, they're going to have a it's been so long since there's been a clothes shop on Coronation Street. Back in the day, you had Miami Mode and all that. So
there's always one.
Yeah, so that's going to turn into that.
Always.
But before they can open it, they need to decorate it. Who's going to be assigned to decorate it? Tommy Orpington's going to be assigned to do the furniture shop. Now, he's in the middle of a wild affair with Tracy, so they think, well, this is a perfect place for us to have our illicit romps. And of course, one time, Tracy is left alone there and discovers Rob hiding out there. Yeah? Tracy and Rob, lot of history. As she still kind of loves him, and he's also threatening to blackmail her to Steve because he's found out about this affair with Tommy, and she says, oh, I don't know what to do. Okay, fine. I'll keep your location stum here. I'm not going to tell on you. And also, if I do, I think you're going to tell Steve about me and Tommy. But obviously, he can't stay there for long with the new shop opening. Somehow, Rob's going to avoid detection there until nearly opening day when Biz and a new chief salesman come in. Here he is. It's Bobby. He's going to run this outlet store, fresh-faced from his successful stint on the Underworld marketing team. Maybe they're a bit sick of him in the factory and say, no, you go and run this place for us now, Bobby. And then Rob's like torn between, do I introduce myself to my son or do I run? Ultimately, Bobby's going to see Rob first, takes pity on his estranged father and lets him stay in the shop by night. But he can't be there during the day. Instead, he goes into Carla's flat. Bobby lets Rob into Carla's flat, and it's all very tense. Is he going to get caught? Is he going to be discovered? Is Rob the secret bomber? The bathroom bomber? Who knows? I haven't decided that yet, but that's my pitch for a Bobby story that's actually more of a Rob Donovan return storyline.
Like it. Very good.
Yeah? Okay, so that's what I would say I would make happen in 2024.
Makes sense.
Yeah, bathroom bombers. It's going to happen. Well, it's not. That's why it's not a prediction. So, I think we need to go and have a look, see how well we did last year. Do you want to hear about some of our predictions? This is what I've kind of separated this out into where we were right and where we weren't right. Would you like to hear some things that you were right about this year?
Yeah, always.
You said, and with all of these, I'm being like, if you were ever so slightly right, the same with me, we're counting it. You said Ryan leaves for 2023. He did kind of leave. And you said that Gabrielle would leave. And she kind of did as well. So 2 points for you for that one, as tangential as it was. You said Sarah and Adam would remember that they were going to have a baby. So you predicted paternity dramas for the Barlows. You were correct with that one. You said that Abby and Alfie would reappear and Toya would help them out. Aww. Christmas Day, we saw Alfie at the bistro and Toya held Alfie, so you can have that prediction.
Great.
This is why I wanted to change for it this year, because we made these random predictions and that were rambling on, and I've just kind of taken a little bit to it. Okay, you said that Asha would continue to have her paramedic training. It was mentioned. You did say, though, and I like this idea, and it never came true, you said that she'd have a traumatic experience, like at the 2021 car crash that she was in.
Yeah.
But, she's not got quite that far enough into her paramedic training to have that yet.
I'm going to recycle all the good ones.
You said that one of Daisy's parents would turn up at the wedding. Now, you did say it would be her dad.
I did say it was her dad.
You said that Jenny's dad would turn up, and I still think there's a lot of... Daisy's dad, would turn up. I think there's still a lot of scope in that. But you were right that a parent would turn up. Just got the wrong gender. You also said that you didn't think Stephen would kill Elaine. He didn't. And you said that Stephen would start dating Jenny.
Yay!
You did! You mentioned something related to drugs and something related to water with Stephen's murders, because you said that he would drug Gabrielle. You're right that there were drugs, and I don't think there had been any hints of drugs around 12 months ago when this came out. But you also said that he would have her drive into a lake.
Oh.
So, big body of water involving one of Stephen's murders.
Yeah.
You've got to have a fraction of a point for that, I'm going to give you.
Yeah, I'll give you a point.
You also predicted that Stephen would die after a confrontation with Tim, although you did say it would be a waste ground and he'd fall off of something.
Hang on, it was a waste ground.
I suppose it was a little bit, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I mean, that wasn't his final
Wasn't
end.
his ending.
No, but you said that Tim would be involved.
Was the Rovers not a waste ground at that point?
Good point. Have
Thank
an
you.
extra tenth of a point for that one.
Thank you.
Right. Daisy is stalked by her fan and is not with Daniel at the end of the year. There we go. Daisy and Daniel not together under 23. That's an absolute one.
10 out
Now,
of
you
10.
did say that she would leave him after he blamed her for a fake Instagram-only wedding. So she was going to do like a fake-out wedding just to get the Instagrams. That obviously didn't happen. But you said that would go wrong and Justin would gate crash it. So, you know, you were right that Justin being related to...
Bit.
He did do a bit of wedding gate crashing. You said that Gemma would become a childminder.
Yeah, I don't know
kind
that.
of.
What do you mean she did?
Yeah, I suppose so, an unregistered
she
one.
got-
But you also said that she would teach BSL there. And unless that's been going on when the camera's not
knows
been
it quite
rolling.
well.
You said that somebody would get a pet, but they wouldn't be mentioned again. So we
Freddie?
had...
Freddie?
Yeah, exactly. Freddie gets mentioned a bit. Also, there was the chinchilla. I don't know whether that had happened by the time you made the
Scylla,
prediction.
yeah.
So, getting a pet, there's a point. Billy and Paul get back together. I still forget that they weren't together at the end of last year. So,
remember that either.
you were right that Billy and Paul would get back together. You said that
Yay.
as part of
Did
Roy...
I say that he would get MND and
You
be given
didn't
6
quite.
months to live?
You were so close, but you didn't quite mention the prediction of MND. No, you said that Roy would realise how addictive his smartphone was, and he'd swap it for a normal old-fashioned phone.
Excellent.
Correct point. And you also said that Peter would eventually swap his bargee into a motorbike. That happened. It just happened a little sooner than we thought it would
should
do.
have happened.
So, you know, you got semi-predictions right there. Here's my successful ones. I said that summer stuff would be over by late spring. Pretty much wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't get too much. And I said that Harriet Bibby would get a rest. I hope she's rested up in 2023. I said that Stephen would kill Teddy, but I had that great prediction of him climbing up the scaffolding, going in the Rover's window and bumping him off. Who could have predicted a hole punch?
And then the bath blows up.
No, that's this year, Gemma. Keep up. I said that there'd be a body in a roof box, and I was pleased with that one.
Yes, you
I was
did.
absolutely determined.
Did
I
you
said
have a
it would be
vision?
Elaine. I said it would be Elaine in the roof box.
How did you know?
Because you don't just get a roof box for Christmas when there's a
that's
serial
true.
killing going around.
Yeah, that's true.
I said that Stephen and Jenny would move in together, but I did say the pub. But hey, they moved into each other for a bit. I also said that Faye would go, although I predicted that Stephen would kill her. But I was right that there's no Faye in Weatherfield in 2023. I said that Tim would have mental health issues that Steve would help him with.
Oh, yeah.
I said it was depression after Elaine and Faye's deaths. But Steve still helped him out with his flashbacks and his
Fishing.
post-traumatic stress disorder being locked in a boot. So that's maybe a little bit of a point there. I said that Stephen's end would come in Super Soap Week and would involve Tim. Correct. I said that Daisy would stop working at the Rovers for a bit and we see a less superficial side of her. Did she or did she not stop working at the Rovers for a bit?
She did.
Yes, the Rovers closed. I said that she would quit the Rovers after falling out with Jenny over Stephen, but I'm still going to take a point there. Lauren remains in the show and has a classic Corrie descalification. Yeah, definitely. It's on its way to happening. Yeah, I can have on my way to getting a point for that.
10% complete.
I said that Amy would be the main Corrie teen to feature. I think out of all the, she had the biggest story, even if it was only maybe a short-lived one. I said that Jacob would be gone. I said that nobody mentions that Toya killed Imran, and it's conveniently forgotten.
Imran who?
Absolutely, exactly. Asher starts a paramedic training as well, moves in with Nina. Yeah. Gemma and Chesney are married by the end of the year, and so are Billy and Paul. I reckon that they might have a twin wedding. I predicted Billy and Paul getting married with Chesney and Gemma, but they're both married, so maybe a point for that one. Here's a good one I was absolutely right. Kirk does nothing all year and manages to avoid being bumped off by Stephen.
Good job, Kirk.
Yeah, that happened. Well done, Kirk. You managed it. Iain Macleod is still producer at the end of the year because we've been like with the Alina coming back with the baby. You got a bit tired of that, so I changed it up this year and said that he would be still producer. And you know what, he ain't anymore, but it doesn't matter. By the end of 2023, he was still in that producer's chair. And my final prediction that was correct-ish is that Sean would split up with Lawrence for reasons that we'll have probably forgotten by the time we review these predictions in a year's time. So let me just test this one out, Gemma. Why did Lawrence and Sean split up?
Because Lawrence killed his wife and he didn't want Sean to know.
Was not to do with that. So we have forgotten about why they split up.
Sean didn't floss.
We've forgotten. That's a point for me. I'd like to call out a couple of notable listener predictions as well. So which were right. Now, Rebecca predicted last year that Carla and Peter would be split up by the end of the year. Ooh. Very good. She also said, this is a good one, Asher gets friendly with someone when she starts uni, causing her and Nina to hit a bump. Yes.
What?
And new girlfriend for Ardy, Rebecca said. I think those are closer than any of our ones that we're claiming points for, so you can definitely have ones for those.
Is Rebecca Iain Macleod?
I think she is. Lisa said Roy becomes a cell phone addict. Yes. And Jared had a good one. I couldn't believe this. Jared, in his list of returns, Henry Newton and Bethany Platt. How do you know?
I think Iain Macleod is pretending to be several people, which is okay if you want to be our patron and give us money to secretly get your predictions in. I say go for it.
There were also a lot of other listener predictions for this year that didn't quite come true, so I won't embarrass you by saying them here. But well done to you guys that got those ones right. Do you want to hear a couple of wrong ones that we said for last year? Right, you reckon that Ardy would leave, and Stu would leave, and Yasmin would leave, and Daisy would leave. So none of that actually happened.
Some of those I think some people would prefer more than others.
Maybe. You reckon that Dee Dee would date Craig.
I don't know why I said that. I looked at that.
It makes sense as a workplace kind of
no.
Lawyer, cop. I don't know.
No.
You said you wanted Joanna Lumley back. You wanted Elaine Perkins back on the street was your prediction. Not quite.
Well, if she can piss around with Michelle Keegan, she can come on Corrie.
I like this one. People eat ice cream in the precinct and look cold.
That's true. Sorry, why have you put that under not happened?
Did that not happen? Have people been eating ice cream in the precinct? Maybe it has. I don't remember.
Okay, here's my question. Has anyone looked warm eating ice cream in the precinct?
No.
There you go.
Okay, fine. You reckon that Damon was going to start a big fire at Underworld, and you said that Brian and Mary would be married at the end of the year. There are plenty more, but
sorry,
you can't win them all. As for me, I predicted a rape. I just thought that Mike would be doing it with Summer. Yeah. I thought that he was going to rape her over the whole baby thing. I also said that Summer would be engaged to Aaron by the end of the year, so I'm barking up the wrong tree with that one. Daniel and Daisy got married, I said. Stephen would be killed at the tip, just to tie in with his whole bin thing. Yeah, to tie with the bin thing. Gemma and Michael affair, I predicted, just because I think that would be funny. They got maybe one scene together.
Just for the
they really do. I predicted Rosie to return. I predicted I predicted that we would wonder why they brought Dylan back. Well, actually, Dylan did get a bit of a story in 2023, so good for you.
Good for you.
I thought that we would get Tanya Pooley back on Coronation Street. That was my big return for the year, and she'd have a big bitch off with Daisy, and she would also try and seduce Stephen. No. I predicted... what's another good one? Oh, Ryan's found dead at Chariot Square. Because people realise that he's not been in the show for so long and they were just going to bump him off. And also Ronnie is found to have moved away. Alina's back. Carla and Gabrielle co-run Underworld. All these great ideas. Todd returns to work at the florist.
Aww.
Yeah. Toya and... I like that. Toya and Spider run a juice bar in the old Peking Order shop.
Oh.
Toya gets sad seeing Alfie play with Abby in the precinct. Alfie later goes missing. Toya is accused of stealing him away. Yeah. Actually, it turns out she's on witness protection. So
who's on witness protection?
Toya. Toya was going to go missing, and Alfie was going to go missing. So people were going to suspect that Toya had nicked him. But Toya's on witness protection for various other storyline reasons, which also didn't happen. But you can't win them all. And there's still potential for some of those to happen this year. Finally for this episode, I think it's time to see what our listeners wants to happen in 2024. So would you like to have a read of some of these? We've got plenty. Thank you everybody who's sent their predictions in. Did you want to see any here that particularly stand out to you?
Caitlin reckons that Daisy and Bethany will be pregnant at the same time. Maybe both of them are Daniel's.
This was also Rebecca's idea. We had I think it was Rebecca's idea first, and Caitlin's kind of jumped onto that as well.
So they both at hospital at the same time, and he doesn't know who to go to, so he goes to Daisy.
Okay.
But then it turns out actually the Daisy's baby is Ryan's.
Oh my gosh.
And Bethany can't forgive him for not coming to her side. And also she reckoned that Sarah and Damon would get back together and that Bethany and Sarah would be pregnant at the same time. She wanted Sarah and Damon to get engaged and Daniel and Daisy. Dev and Bernie to have a wedding, which would be quite nice. And so that Paul can witness his mum getting married before he dies.
I like that idea. Just going back to that Daisy and Bethany pregnant at the same time. I think that's possibly got legs to it. I do think that maybe Daisy...
I said pregnancy, yeah.
Yeah, well, I said there's going to be a birth. I said there's got to be a birth this year. I just feel that maybe... I mean, it's not going to... Then they're not going to ease up on the Daisy and Bethany and Daniel stuff, are they? What with Bethany only just coming back in. So, maybe.
She reckons that Todd and Joel are in a secret relationship because...
Oh my gosh, that's
ever since Joel came to the show, I feel like he's been hiding a secret, which I think we all agree with that.
I don't know how Moses would feel about that.
Billy and Todd for one night after Paul's death. Cassie and Kevin, or at least she will try. This reminds me of what happened with Tim and Gina.
What?
Where the emotionally unstable relative sleeps with somebody inappropriate.
Any other ones stand out to you? She's done loads. We don't have to mention them all.
Okay. I think that, Nancy said that Daniel and Daisy are going to get back together again, which would be interesting if that happens.
Rebecca, as always, has done tons. I can't... They're all on the Facebook group, if you want to. There's some really, really good ones here. She doesn't think anyone's going to get married this year, but she is shipping Jenny and Ronnie, Todd and Billy, Daisy and Ryan, Max and Lauren, Asher and Isla. What? Summer. Oh yeah, I was thinking of Alia instead of Asher there.
Asher and
that would
Alia?
be a turn up for the books.
Why
wouldn't
not?
It? Summer and Bobby. Oh, okay. Returns. Right, who's Rebecca got for returns? Ryan, Eva, Jason, Rob again. There seems to be
There's
quite
in the water
for Rob Donovan this year.
We're picking up on something.
Rosie.
I'm a big believer in this psychic soup that we're all marinating in, and maybe we're picking some things up.
Jonathan's still holding out for the Alina returns with toddler for Daddy Tyrone, and Steve reckons that Jack's going to be involved in the Mason bully storyline.
And they're all gay.
Steve says, I'll tell you when them's going to be. Steve says, turns out that Mason's granddad is an amputee, having also lost a leg, so he has that respect for Jack, and that's why he doesn't bully him.
Hang on, what war was this in?
Doesn't matter.
Falklands, I guess.
What else have we got? Navdeep's always good for a
prediction.
Yeah. Go on. Do you want to share his?
It will be revealed that Joel hates Coronation Street with a passion. Now, is that the show or the location? I think it's deliberately ambiguous. He will give Hope a box of matches and promise to pay her if she burns down every business on the street. She does the deed, but he goes back on his word. She takes revenge by setting fire to his childhood teddy bear.
Oh my gosh.
A distraught Joel leaves the street but vows further revenge by promising to return.
How silly.
With Michelle.
Better not be. Better not be Navdeep.
Oh, that's funny.
Lisa was also talking about Tyrone Jr. coming back. Maybe Tyrone Jr. and Daniel Jr. could become best friends, he suggests. Okay. One of Rebecca's storyline predictions, Daisy and Jenny are going to get found out probably just before Britain's Got Talent Week. This is about the money. And she's also saying that Bethany's going to have a hand in it as well. At number 1, Tracy doesn't have an affair with Tommy O. However, Steve thinks she is and starts his own affair with Cassie. Oh, look at that. See, Steve and Cassie, we're saying here. So maybe there's something going on here.
Cassie, read us up to no good.
Stay away from Kevin, though. Don't want Abby to be upset. We got...
There's so much here.
Yes, I'm not reading this all out,
I just want
Rebecca.
everyone to know that if we didn't read it out, it's not because we know that it's going to come true and we want to steal your idea.
It's because we've been recording for a couple of hours
now.
Get on that Facebook group and have to give it a read.
And give yourself credit.
Stu and Yasmin break up. Sarah and Damon get together properly.
Eve is coming back.
Summer dates Bob. Another Summer dates Bobby storyline.
Bobby is working.
I hope there aren't
Rob.
any spoilers here masquerading as predictions. We don't like that around here.
Is working with Rob to bring Carla back to bring Carla and the factory down, but he gets cold feet. But there's an accident at the factory and Bobby comes clean.
Interesting. Okay.
We all think Bobby's up to something.
Yeah. Vinnie Herrott says relationship Sarah and Damon, Amy and Ardy. Yeah. Nina and Ardy affair. Well, it's kind of getting there. Tracy and Tommy, Cassie and Kevin, one-sided affair. Breakups for Steve and Tracy, Daniel and Bethany, Yasmin and Stu. We got exits. She's got an axe list. Vinny's got an axe list here. Oh, sorry, he's got an axe list. I don't know why he said so. I apologise. Simon, Craig, Beth, Kirk, Stu, Eliza, Paul, Izzy, Aggie, Sean, Harvey, Alia, and
there's easily 30 there, so how are you?
And he's still got Elaine down as a possible return. I don't believe it. What else we got? Joanne, do you want anything here from Joanne? Tickle your fancy?
Paul's going to leave around Easter time. It will be an assisted storyline route, but it will be Bernie that
the assisted suicide. Oh, okay. So Bernie's going to bump off her own son. And
then, because of her grief, she's going to cheat on Dev, maybe with Brian.
Oh, no.
And then Billy's going to struggle with his faith. And then Britain's Got Talent Week will be something a bit more dramatic than Paul dying, like a storyline with Damon and Harvey, both on screen. Lauren will get caught in the crossfire, and maybe people will feel sorry for her, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Nice try, Corrie. Not Lauren.
The teen drama with Mason and Dylan and Liam will come to a head this summer, and the bullying will get so bad that Liam could potentially go missing.
The thing is, if Liam went missing, I think the only people that would notice would be Gary and Maria. I think you'd have to keep reminding us viewers, wouldn't you? He's never on screen.
Ryan's coming back, get back with Daisy, but maybe he'll flirt with Bethany. Mm-hmm. And then there will be a Who's the Daddy storyline.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
So it looks like the Daisy Bethany pregnancy idea seems quite popular here with our Facebook group members. We've got no prison or pregnancy storyline, says Caroline. That's a prayer rather than a prediction, isn't it?
Fiona. Boring Joel will report the insider trading, and him and Dee Dee will break up, and he will leave the street, and no one will notice.
Possibly, quite possibly. Nina will remember she's actually cool and stop being a clingy, jealous, boring type. That sounded like a prayer. She will then get back with Asher.
Cassie's going to make a pass at Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
He'll not be able to resist it. She will keep pursuing him, and eventually Abby and Tyrone will find out, and Abby will attempt to kill Cassie by tempting her to overdose, but then she'll stop her. I like that one.
Smug Billy will be strangled by his stupid satchel. And Glenda will be in it more. So we've got a few predictions mixed in with hopes here. Thank you, everybody. I'm really sorry that we've not been able to read out everybody's, but we do appreciate them. We've read them all, and there's some fantastic ones there. And I know what, Gemma, I think between us, we've got a few good ideas to keep Corrie ticking along for 2024 as well.
We could turn the ship around.
I tell you, bathroom bomber, bring back all the baddies. Who's the baddie? It's not who's the daddy, it's who's the baddie. I only just thought of that. Brilliant. It writes itself. Come on, give me something.
I can hear Trevor saying it right now.
Anyway, we're done. Good job we didn't tack that on to the end of another podcast, isn't it? Because it might have been a bit of a lengthy one. But I hope you've enjoyed listening to our thoughts and hopes and prayers and predictions and everything for 2024, listeners. And of course, it's not too late for you to get your predictions in. Just don't get spoilers and tell us they're your predictions. But yeah, if there's anything else that you think you'd like to happen this year, or you think's going to happen this year, or you kind of know is not going to happen, but you want to get out some ideas, then write in and let us know. Gemma.
Conversationstreet@gmail.com.
That is where you can get to us, exactly. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.